and that's where Hello Darkness. Okay.
So, I love that story.
As I say, whatever existential angst you might read into those lyrics, I actually didn't have much angst of any kind. But nevertheless, that song is sort of remarkable in that it's still known today, and of course, it was a really big hit. It was a #1 hit. I'll tell you how I did. Well, never mind. You ask me another question.
You're doing great.
Okay, I'll tell you how I discovered that The Sound of Silence was a hit. We had recorded that song on an album. Well, first of all, I wrote the song, and I had a job. I've had 2 jobs in my life, where I worked for somebody else. The first one, I worked at Kitty Kelly's Shoes, which was at 34th Street then. It's gone now, and not lamented. It's gone. And I was 15, and I was a stock clerk. My job was to go get the shoes that the salespeople requested. My nickname was Lightning. So, in my mind, I was not really planning on having a career in the shoe business at all. And during that time, we recorded Hey Schoolgirl, and we went on Dick Clark, and I quit the job. That was the end of that job. But the other job that I had, I worked for a publishing company called E.B. Marks Music, which is a well-known publishing company. I worked for a short time, and my job was to bring their catalog around to A&R people and see if they would record any of the Marks Music songs with the artists on, say, RCA or Columbia or whatever label it was. And I went up to Columbia Records, and I saw an A&R man named Tom Wilson, who was recording. He was recording a group called, I think it was called the Pilgrims, and he was also recording Bob Dylan. And he said, "I'm looking for material for the Pilgrims." So I went and I made a demo of The Sound of Silence. I made this demo with the help of, in the control room, of a guy named Jim McGuinn, who later changed his name to Roger McGuinn, and was a member of the Byrds. But anyway, we went into this little studio in Midtown, and I made the demo, and then I brought this demo up to Tom Wilson. And he said, "I really like that song. I'd like to record that song with the Pilgrims." And I said, "I sing with this friend of mine, and we sing this song, and would you be interested in hearing us?" And he said, "Yeah, I would." So we came up and we sang the song, Art and I, and he said, "I like that. I'm gonna see if Columbia would sign you." So we were, beside ourselves, and we went and we made an audition tape, and then they signed us, and we put out an album called Wednesday Morning 3 a.m. with The Sound of Silence. And the album came out, and it wasn't a hit. And I had then moved to England. And while I was in England, Art wrote to me, and he said they'd like to take our song, which was already like not a hit, and overdub it with electric guitars and drums, like folk rock, And did I have any objection? I said, nah, I have no objection, man. The song is, whatever. It's fine. It's fine with me. So they did, and I didn't hear any more about it. And then they sent me a copy of it to listen to. I listened to it and said, it's all right. Not killing me, not knocking me out, but whatever happens, that's just a bonus if anything happens. Anyway, I got booked to do a little tour of Denmark. And I was excited because, I'd never been to Denmark, and here I was, kind of just working by myself, playing around in clubs in England. And in the week before that, or the 2 weeks before that, Artie said, he wrote to me and he said, there was a category in the music magazines which had listed the top 100, and then there was a category called Bubbling Under. And that would be 20 songs that were, from 101 to 120. And he said, The Sound of Silence is 111. So it's really. And the next week, it was 101. So now I'm off to Denmark, and I'm sailing from Aarhus. I'm taking a ferry up to Copenhagen, and I'm going to go to my publisher in Denmark and look at the Billboard magazine, or Cashbox, I don't remember which it was. And then I'll see whether this song has come from 101 into the top 100. So the thing about the top 100 was that anything from 80 to 1, if you were above 80 or below 80, I should say, you would get a bullet. The number one with a bullet, that's the phrase. If you were below 80, from 80 to 100, you wouldn't get a bullet, and it sort of meant that it wasn't really going to be much of a hit. So it was really important that this song come in below 80 or below. Anyway, I arrived in Copenhagen. It was in December. It was, freezing, and I wandered around till the publisher opened. I got there like 6 in the morning and wandered around till the publishing house opened. And I came in, went right to the magazine, and I said, okay, look, this is what I want to do now. I'm just going to go immediately from 100 to 80 and look and see if it's there, because I don't want it to be here. Whoosh. Good. It's not there. Now I said, now if it's anywhere from 80 to 70, it'll be good, but I'll be a little disappointed. So I'll just look at those 10. So I look at those 10, and it's not there. So I said, now this is getting exciting. Now I'm going to look from 70 to 60, but I'm not going to go in spaces of 10. Because, I mean, in a way, it's hard to imagine what it would be like to be working in clubs in England and write a song and have the possibility that that song was actually going to be a hit. To give you an idea of what this meant, on a financial level, I used to make, at that time in England, I would make 25 or 30 pounds a night as a singer, which was about as high as anybody made in the folk circuit. And I used to think to myself, that's a lot of money. I'm making a lot of money, 25 pounds a night, but I'm actually worth it. That's how I thought to myself. Anyway, so now I'm looking 79, nope. 78, nope. 7, 6, 75. Now it's like I really want it to be 75. It's just now getting too nervous. 74, 73. Okay, I can't look anymore. Boom. I look down, it's not there. It's still not there. Now I'm kind of discouraged. Now I'm going to look through the 60s. And I go through the 60s one at a time. And I get to 60, and it's not there. And my heart is just sinks. And I take away the paper that was blocking the things out and 59 with a bullet, Sound of Silence.